it was expected to dump at least until this area, and it looked like it wants to bounce because it tapped this H4 BPR pretty well, and it looked like we reclaimed the value high of the yearly range. Sorry, of this range, not the yearly range. But then correlating with BTC just dying, took out these lows, no reaction. These lows, no reaction. And now it's dumping even further, so yeah, very, very sad. It reminds me of TIA at the beginning of the year, where we had this very big range. Was this last year actually? It was at the end of last year, so we had this big range. It looked like it wanted to push past range highs, and then it just straight up died and didn't do anything else, and it's still way below that level right now.
Yeah, interesting. I think the market has potentially lower to go, and we can get into that. So I think we're going to kick
Yep.
things off now properly. I see 70 people in the audience, which is awesome. Big welcome, everyone, to what is probably our 5th or 6th market roundtable. I haven't been counting, but I think it's about around that number. For those of you who haven't been on these before, these are effectively just a discussion, a round table discussion, if you will, where we just run around the analyst team and anyone else from the team who has joined and kind of get some opinions. I see Vazzy Monk, Tim Purdue, and a few others in the audience. You guys are more than welcome to join on the stage. In fact, I would love if you did. That is, of course, if you're able to speak. And the idea is just to pick everyone's brains, to come up with some hot take, mild takes, whatever, everything in between on the market and where we see everything going. So we'll look at obviously charts like BTC and ETH. If you guys have any charts you want us to look at, let us know, and we'll kind of give our overall impression, overall feeling on where the market is now, where we see it going. Mostly over the next week, over the next 7 days. The idea, if we're doing these weekly, is to kind of give you the feeling for where we think market is going over the next 5, 6, 7 days, but also just kind of in a higher time frame macro sense as well. So with that in mind, Victor, you were just chatting there. Maybe you can give us your thoughts on BTC, where you see the market going, what your feeling is looking at the charts today.
Yes. So, of course, we should look at the current price action on BTC as a range, because it has been ranging since arguably the 11th of July. And yeah, I think it's really important to understand what has happened so that we can get better opinions and better predictions about what's going to happen next. So we saw how in the past the value area high has acted as resistance very many times, but the value area low has also acted as support very many times. What this does is it builds up liquidity at both sides. So we had these equal lows, Pikachu lows, and we also had a huge daily fair value gap below, and that ended up being the first side of the range to get swept. We got a really clean reaction from the daily fair value gap. I would say almost mechanical, because we didn't sweep a lot of it and we didn't close any H4 candle inside of it. And then it looked like we could have a really nice push, because we inverted this big H4 fair value gap. We traded through it. We consolidated on Saturday around the POC of the range. Then on Sunday we pumped, and here everybody thought, yeah, man, this is the push. We're going to all-time high. We are so giga bullish. But we just tapped value area high again, and that acted as a huge resistance yesterday, and that sent us down to the other very important level. So when you're looking at volume profiles, you have to keep in mind range highs, range lows, liquidity built up before range highs and range lows, and then of course the volume profile levels of value area high, POC, and value area low. And after rejecting from value area high, we found some support at the POC together with an H4 fair value gap, which sent us into this bullish move up at the beginning of today. But of course, we reacted bearishly once we came close to the value area high. An H1 fair value gap acted as resistance, which sent us back to the POC. So now I think it's very, very important to understand what's going on at the POC. If we are able to close an H4 candle, this H4 candle, which closes in 47 minutes above the POC I still think that we can get more upside, though I'm much less confident in it than I was yesterday. If we close the H4 candle below and we like continue going down, then the next level to look for longs will be the tiny H4 fair value gap at value area low. But then I was speaking to Follis about this. He said even lower we got some really clean levels where price can react from and still be in a bullish accumulation. And I totally agree. If we drop below the value area low, I don't think it's the end of the world. We can still find some support inside the OT of this move up. But yeah, just trade the level to level. First look at the POC and how we react from there. Then look at the value area low and how we react from there. And then at this OT level. If we fail this, I think we will get a deeper sweep of the daily fair value gap. So overall, no real bias right here. Just my advice is to take it level by level and not marry your bias. For example, how people marry their bullish bias when we are trading at a resistance. Just like if we start dumping right now, don't marry your bearish bias if we start seeing some reaction from key bullish levels.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's something you kind of touched on there is flexibility with regards to bias. And I think that's something that, especially in the last couple of weeks, if you look at the price action on BTC, especially, it's been a little bit choppy. I think a lot of traders they see prices been moving up for a few days and they start saying, okay, it's bullish. Like now it's going to keep pushing higher. And then they don't see the reaction that you would want to see if you're bullish. Price starts pulling back, but they stubbornly stick to their bias. They don't adapt quickly enough and they end up round tripping the bag. And what's even worse is a lot of those guys, after the market has actually moved down towards an obvious support level, they're the kind of guys who will say, okay, well, now it's the time to turn bearish. And they'll misplay things on the other side of the order book as well. So I think, yeah, it's something I see a lot of traders talk about actually this month in particular. Like obviously in July, we had the big run up to a new all-time high. The BTC went to like 123K or 123.4K. And I've seen a lot of guys say that they've actually given back all their gains from earlier in the month over the last couple of weeks of choppy price action. And I mean, it has been choppy. It's been pretty range bound from like kind of the, let me just share my screen actually while we're talking about this. You guys can kind of see what I'm talking about here. But I mean, yeah, we had this big run up this the start of the month, right? I think a lot of guys made crazy money here. And it's crazy to see that so many guys have given back their gains the last couple of weeks when BTC is just chopping in this relatively tight range. I think it's indicative of guys who are too slow to change their bias, right? You see a move like this, you see it pull back, and maybe you see a retest like this. I'm not sure, is this something where you should be, playing for 140K right off the bat? I think there's been a few instances here where price is hitting an obvious resistance level. I've marked out this descending channel on my chart, which I actually think is kind of playing out. I've had this on my chart for a few days now. Getting bullish into these resistance areas, maybe not the smartest play, but I think guys are a little bit too blinded by, the move up we had here and thinking that once we deviate the lows that we're going to go for the highs. So I'll kind of talk you through this BTC chart while I have it on the screen in front of me. This is something I posted in my channel last night. I think the price action has actually been pretty clean since we broke above this previous range, this range that we were in for 2 months, May, June, and the beginning of July. The obvious play that I've been waiting for here, and we haven't really gotten it yet, is this retest of previous all-time high. And it's something that I was kind of hoping we would get when price dipped here to 114K, but bulls stepped up sooner than I anticipated or sooner than I hoped. But we still are in this descending channel, which I think is also forming. We've had 3, maybe even 4 taps, maybe a fourth there, and 2 taps on the lows. And that's kind of why I posted this in my channel yesterday. I said that I expected that there would be some kind of bearish reaction here. Resistance was going to resist, and sure enough, we're seeing a push down to start the day today. I do think that this is kind of setting up like a bullish PO3 where we're getting this consolidation. We might get a dip lower below the channel. And I think once we reclaim the channel, once we reclaim the range low, whatever you want to call it, that's when it's kind of game on to look for something like that. And at that point, you're looking for a move back to take this liquidity at the very least, or maybe even range high. So I think the interesting thing about BTC to me here is that it's very easy for me to be short to medium term bullish on BTC because I think it looks fantastic, even though we're kind of pulling back now. And even though we might go as low as 112 or 113K, I think that's completely fine. That's still well within the parameters of, you know, a bull market pullback. Altcoins, I'm not so sure about, and maybe we can get into that a little bit later. Purdu, I see you on the stage. Are you able to talk?
Of course. Can anyone hear
How are
me?
you feeling about the market in general right now? How are you feeling about Bitcoin in the market?
Yeah, well, not really bullish at the moment. I think what you said clarifies it all at the moment. There are still some rotations to play here and there, but for now, I think it's going to be a BTC. Let me show my screen for a bit. What I already said on my stream this morning is, let me fix my screen 1 second. Such a boomer. Where? Old man Purdue. How do we share my screen again? Wait. Oh, over here. Yes, finally. Got it. Yeah, okay, here we go. Here we go. So, now I have to see my own screen as well, please. Yeah, perfect. So, what I'm seeing here at the moment is that this is gonna be like a deviation below my point of breakdown. This was, let's say it's range low now. For BTC dominance, I see this play out, to be honest, that we had a mini alt season over here. We broke down. This was like a really bullish momentum for alts. And now what I think it's going to be in the next few days, next few weeks, is that we're going to reclaim this range low here. Alts are going to die a bit more. And then we're going to see a nice uptrend on BTC dominance again. So for now, indeed, I'm not really bullish on altcoins. There are still some rotations here and there, but I think, for example, for Ethereum at the moment, I see this really coming down here towards at least yearly open, like a wick to yearly open would be a first buy for me. As you can see, I think something like this would be a really nice short-term buy opportunity. If we get this before FOMC, like tonight, if we get like a really deep flush, I think that's the level you want to bid into the yearly open, like 3,300, 3,325, something like that. We usually wick a bit into it. And that's where I would like to bid for a small relief bounce back towards 3,600. That would be like an underside retest of this. This would be like your deviation below the huge SR flip on the higher time frame. And this is actually where I guess I will flip short, to be honest. Yeah, I can short too, guys. It's fucking crazy, right?
Once Purdue starts shorting, you know the market's in trouble.
Yeah, if the most bullish person in the chat is not bullish on the market again anymore, then you know it's getting in trouble. Yeah. So yeah, that's basically and also like some red flags appeared like last Sunday when all the football tokens. I know you're familiar with that phenomenal.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, with that phenomena as well. That like AC Milan did like 200% on a Sunday. You saw many vaporware tokens pump like Omni and stuff, and even
Vine.
AR pumped today. Yeah, Vine, even this pumped a lot today. Like Airweave, some really dead tokens came to life over the last few days, and that's usually when it's risk off season. I think when same here when Solana lost like the yearly open, this is actually a super clean short to take already if this comes back. But yeah, I think FOMC will be telling tomorrow. It could still be a trap, but if we start losing 117 on BTC, I think you have a clean rotation down to Follis's level, back to the old all-time high. It also actually aligns pretty well with like a deeper pullback into August, early August. If we bottom early August, I think that would be very nice to play some upside momentum. I think we saw that many months last year, that we bottom early in the month, and that's basically your invalidation going forward. So
yeah, 100%. And I think that kind of touches on another point, which is like people or traders, and I suppose it's the kind of stuff that gets engagement on CT. So I understand why people are constantly posting about it. But the market never moves up in a straight line, right? Very rarely do you get an asset that will just continue, even strong assets, even good projects, even ones with great fundamentals, great tech, whatever it may be. Very rarely do those move up in a straight line. I think that's something, especially newer traders can be blind to, or maybe willfully choose to ignore. This concept of pullbacks, this concept of bull market pullbacks. There is no excuse realistically when the market is moving up. If you're not in a position, there's no excuse not to be constantly, planning, saying, okay, well, what happens if BTC pulls back 5% here and dominance rips, right? What's going to happen to this altcoin? Is this altcoin going to leg down minus 15, minus 20%? And the thing is, it's hard to envision that when the coin is just ripping to the upside. But I think the best traders are always ones that plan for a multiplicity of scenarios, and one of those scenarios, should always be kind of like a pullback. What happens if the market tanks from here? We see it all the time, right? Whenever the market moves up and leaves imbalances behind, there's almost always a retrace. There's almost always a pullback, and that can be those can be your best opportunities to get positions for the next leg up. Assuming you weren't involved in the initial move. So just something to be aware of. Markets rarely go straight up. Jonesy, I know you're on stage, and I know you're in an ETH short. Is that correct? Maybe you want to talk us through that.
Yeah, I'm in a ETH and BTC short. I can do it in a sec.
Purdue, I think Purdue needs to stop sharing his screen.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, I will.
No, you're good.
Come on, you old man Purdue.
It can take.
How do I do this?
Yeah.
There we go.
Technology. Great.
We're still figuring out the stage thing.
Yeah. So with I'll just quick talk about the BTC short because it was kind of my high time frame framing for the ETH short. So like you've been talking about, there's this obvious, very, very clear diagonal range that we're just kind of going down, lower highs and lower lows. So on the third drive on Sunday going into Monday, I decided to take a stab at a short outside of my normal trading time. I think it was like at the tail end of Asia. And the whole idea was like, kind of had a little low time frame 3 drives here, retest the ice line, had already been rejecting TMO, 3 falling peaks, so like a lot of different things. And then basically it was just looking for a third drive to form down here, tap into the daily FEG EQ, because we tapped into it very briefly last week here, and then reacted off there was a butterfly here. But then now we're trending down. So given that bias for the week, and I know Victor did a post yesterday about this with Brighter Data, was able to look at the data for this week, and the odds were, well, always for Mondays, 60% of the time BTC forms the higher low of the week. So typically you're looking for swings. Monday and Tuesday are like the most optimal days for entries. So with this kind of alignment, I shorted that, and then that gave confluence with the continuation short today, similar to the other one I took yesterday, where it's kind of just like, okay, now I look for altcoins to kind of short on a more scalping time frame. This was basically playing deviations of your micro session, regular session for New York, daily session, weekly session, opens for ETH. So basically looking at this to be like the move for the high of the week, or maybe not high of the week, but like the high of the day, and then setting up for the rest of like the week with downside. Because like if BTC is going to pull back and form a new low here, like ETH is definitely going to take out a little H4 FEG below the current weekly low. So I mean, there's a chance we could pull back down to the ice line here. There's a daily for Melia gap, but for me, it was like this is the immediate draw, and then I was able to kind of go break even once I saw this kind of increased sell off here. Because if it held in reverse, I wouldn't want to be in that. So yeah, it's looking good. We'll see if it continues to pan out. I think maybe we could see like an intra-week reversal tomorrow, and then maybe like continue downside the rest of the week, or maybe we bottom Wednesday. But all in all, I'd like to see a new low on BTC before we kind of reclaim 120.
Yeah, you think maybe we just bounce from the bottom of the channel, kind of like a few of us have said.
Yeah, like there's that old high that you had marked out from
Exactly. Yeah.
May, and like I think that like that's always going to be the ideal entry, just like the clean retest. I wouldn't be surprised if we front run it, and or there's a daily fair value gap I think around here. So maybe you see one final dip below 110,000. You retest this like H1 2000 EMA once it like kind of comes back up. Because last time we touched this was back in June when we bottomed off the big Gartley, and then the last time before that was all the way down in April, kind of once we had the butterfly and then flipped and then started running. So I think it would be a great opportunity if we get some sort of like crazy capitulation move, comes down really quick and bounces. Like if I would throw this indicator on, just keep an eye on it. The H1 2000 EMA, like it's been pretty much the reversal point for a lot of the Q2 and Q3. So yeah, that's about it for me.
That's really good to know. Sorry, what's that EMA again?
So I have it in my alpha channel. I just use it's a custom EMA indicator with a 20, 50, 100, 200, and then a 2000 EMA. I'll link it in the voice text channel. Super easy, just throw it on your charts. But the thing I've found, with the EMA, like it provides such good, and it works on any time frame too. Like here, the 2000 EMA on M1, like resistance here, flips it, we're bullish here. You could have played the retest, continuation there, bearish retest of it there. So it's a very big lagging indicator, like the 200, how that's kind of good for framing the trend, but imagine that 10x. And then you do that on like the daily or H4. Like H4, if you just simply bid the flip or any retests of this for the last year, right? So go back to October 2023, you bid when we like first started pushing up hard and bullish, you bid any of these retests, right? It at most spent like a week below it. So cool indicator, definitely worth checking out if you like EMAs. Yeah, I'll let someone else hop on.
That's awesome. Yeah, I really like that idea. I see Tim doing a lot of yapping in the chat, so I'm going to pick on him next. Are you able to speak, Tim?
Can you hear me?
Oh, your volume is super low.
We can hear you. Yeah, I've messed my mic up.
Okay, I think.
I'm using my laptop mic.
Okay, no worries. I think we can. I right-clicked on you and turned the user volume up. I'm hoping that other guys can do that as well. Yeah, you're pretty quiet otherwise.
Yeah, I don't know how to fix that. I think it's just my mic and my PC. It's not up to par.
Okay, no worries.
moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess we can get a quick opinion from you then. Like, what are you looking at right now? How are you feeling about the market? How are you feeling about Bitcoin? What are you looking at?
Hold on 1 minute. Shared my Discord screen.
You say you're sharing your screen?
He's finding the button.
We're all too old. All of us over 30 unks need to just get out of crypto. Like,
I'm blaming being sick. That's my excuse today.
that's fair enough.
All right, guys. I think it's just a bit too early for me to get any real, bias about me because we're just moving sideways, right? So I just don't. Can you see my screen? Can everybody see my screen?
We can see it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just think we're moving sideways in a range right now, and I'm kind of using the weekly time frame on altcoins to get more of a bias about me. Right now, I see that Bitcoin is running its Monday low. It has yet to do that. So if there's no reaction here and we've lost our point of control, which I have marked in red here, I'm expecting that we're going to get down here around 116,700, which is around where value area low is. And if we start losing these lows, then I have interest in about 108K. But for now, I don't think there's any reason to sound any alarms. I don't think there's any reason to go crazy because if you look at altcoins that you may have an interest in, for example, like Solana, like I have a very nice level on Solana that I'm interested in longing. So I just think that this could push me down to where I want to long, right? So if you flip Solana over to the weekly time frame, you'll see that that's a nice weekly fair value gap. I see it as this is an obvious resistance level, and it makes a lot of sense to have rejected where we have rejected, but it also makes sense to bounce from this zone that I have marked, which is a nice weekly fair value gap. And if you drop down to your H4 chart, you can see that, you know, it really lines up with a nice looking level. So just because Bitcoin is just moving sideways and chopping down a little bit doesn't mean it's the end of the world for me. A lot of alts right now are kind of puking harder than expected. But you know, this isn't my first go round. I've seen this before. This is just what happens. So I'm not really freaking out too much yet as far as a large pullback goes. But you know, I see it as a minor correction for now. And if Bitcoin starts losing range levels, then I'll plan appropriately. And start looking to my levels that I have marked out that I was talking about last week in stream for lungs. For now, it's just sideways, you know. I mean, I just don't see any reason to freak out. I'm still in my Bitcoin long. I had a couple altcoin longs fail me because, you know, I was hoping for some continuation that just didn't come. But I think there's still a chance that Bitcoin dominance might be breaking down, and I should probably show you what I mean. To me, I've been watching the weekly time frame on Bitcoin dominance. And to me, that is a very, very impulsive move to the downside as far as Bitcoin dominance is concerned. And, you know, this could just be a move back up into this nice weekly fair value gap that's been left behind here on the Bitcoin dominance chart. And we could be moving back up into this before we get a bigger push up on alts. So if Bitcoin dominance is actually falling on the weekly time frame here, it just makes sense to correct a little bit for alts to gather their footing, retest some key levels, and then maybe try to make a move back up. I'm not saying that happens. I'm just saying that on the high time frame, Bitcoin has not given me what I need to see to determine that the crypto market itself on the whole is pulling back. When that happens, I'll switch my bias and I'll commence shorting again. For now, I'm just kind of waiting for some retests.
Yeah, I think that's the right way to play it. You know, something we always say in Chroma is to, you know, not to try and be a predictive trader. Your job isn't to try and predict the future or figure out what price is going to do, you know, days, weeks, months in advance. Your job is just to wait for information to present itself and then react based on that information according to your plan, according to your strategy. So I think that's probably a safe bet, Tim. That's awesome, especially about Bitcoin dominance. I think something that worries me, and it's something I shared on my channel, is I worry that this Bitcoin dominance dip is going to do exactly what it did in December last year and just end up retracing the move and putting in a new high. But yeah, probably too early to say that that's going to happen or not. So it just kind of remains to be seen what way the market's altcoin appetite goes over the next few months.
Yeah, of course, I have that concern as well. I just don't think I'm to the point now to where I can lose hope. I just think that I can't switch bullish bias up quite yet based on the information I'm given. Now, does it look good today? No, it doesn't look good, right? But you know, it never does. You know, it never looks good when it's puking like that. But then the next thing you know, we're bouncing and alts are moving 20% at a time. So mark your key levels out, switch to your weekly time frame. If you see key points of interest weekly to daily, then mark them out and play them. If they don't work, they don't work. But you know, there's still key points of interest. You can't just have a bad day and see red for, you know, a Monday and a Tuesday and just lose all hope. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, 100%, man. And I think that kind of touches on another point, which is like, you know, you need to make the plans. You need to make your plans when emotions are low, right? When the thing that you're planning for hasn't happened yet. Because when the move happens, right? People always say like, "Oh, I would love a 20% dip. I would love a 25% dip. You know, I would buy so much of that coin if it dipped to this level." And then price dips to that level, and the guy doesn't buy. Oh no, it looks like shit now. I'm scared. It's oh no way, it's too hot, right? But actually, and then inevitably it bounces. And what has happened there is the trader has let their emotions get the better of them, and they haven't executed their plan. The plan that they made when their emotions were low. Of course, they let their emotions get the better of them when the thing they were looking for actually played out. So yeah, just something to be aware of for anyone listening to this. When you make plans, right? You make plans, your emotions are low. There's no money on the line at that point, right? It's all early doors. When the move actually happens, try to remember, like, if you say to yourself, "Oh no, I'm not going to take that trade now," like it's looking at things have changed. Have things actually changed, right? What has changed? Has the price action changed? Has what's happening in the charts changed? Or is the only thing that has changed is it your emotions? Are you now scared to take the trade because of some silly emotional reason? And if that's the case, then you need to figure out why that is, right? You need to kind of maybe overcome that a little bit. That's something that I think only comes with time, but there's a very big difference between changing your plan because there is a technical reason to change it and changing your plan because, oh shit, I feel scared, right? You know what I mean? One of those has an emotional backing and the other has a fundamental backing. Sorry, go on, Tim.
Usually what has happened is the only thing that's changed is the way you feel, and you have to be able to talk to why how you feel has changed. Now, for me, for example, with everything that I just said, I have a key point of interest on Ethereum. And I was saying that on the H4 time frame that how I feel isn't necessarily bad at this moment in time, but what would change how I feel? So you have to know what would change how you feel. And what would change how I feel is if ETH starts losing this Monday low here, previous day low, Monday low, and starts getting some closures below a structural level that I have marked out below it, that would change how I feel. Because so far to this point, we've held up structurally and ETH has been relatively strong. Now, Jonesy, for example, what changes how he feels is a high time frame level all the way down to like M1, right? So his shorts are different than my H4 short. But what would change how I feel on H4 up would be H4 losing structure. And then I would start looking at these key points of interest that I have to long lower that everyone keeps saying that I'm not going to get. Well, maybe I don't get them. I still have a bullish bias right now, but that can change fast. And if I lose the structure here, I'll have some H4 invalidation. I'll have key levels that if we start trading above again, that I can invalidate my short thesis. And I'll have targets below that are POIs for me to buy. So you got to know what's going to change how you feel. Just adding to what you said there, Follis.
Yeah, 100%. That's awesome, Tim. Thank you, and thank you for speaking. I know you're a bit under the weather at the moment, so we're all hoping
Yes, sir,
that
no problem. My pleasure.
we're all hoping that you feel better soon. So yeah, we have a new join. You guys might have seen Jedi Blockmates request to speak, and he's joining us now. Jedi Blockmates, you and I spoke on a call last week. I picked your Gigabrain a little bit. And I know that you're a very talented, very smart, very high integrity individual. So maybe you could give us, first of all, a little introduction about yourself. Maybe tell us a little bit what you do, and then maybe you can give us some thoughts on the market from, well, you'll explain from what perspective, but from a more kind of DeFi perspective.
Yeah, it's kind of like a little bit overwhelming. Tons of people here. Amazing to be a part of this community. I mean, even though I'm part of kind of like the Blockmates community and built the community now for the last 5 years. For those of you who don't know, I'm one of the partners in Blockmates. We started Blockmates 5 years ago, and the whole idea was to educate people around DeFi, and things have gone pretty much really well. But then we've been focusing primarily on more the DGen players. I mean, we do cover stuff really early, so I think from what it is that my wheelhouse is, it's identifying projects kind of in the DeFi context really early, and then introducing those protocols and those ideas to the market. I mean, we introduced Hyperliquid. Shit, it's been 2 years now. I was one of the first people that interviewed Jeff. There's many such examples. I mean, we listed Pepe at 500k market cap in our newsletter. there's many cases like that. So why am I here? First of all, I'm seeking out to be a better trader and do the kind of stuff that, you know, the guys like Osbra and Tim, I mean, I've known those guys for ages. And obviously it's been very humbling and an absolute privilege to come into this community and see what the traders are doing here. I don't think there's a single trader here that I don't look at and think, fuck, you guys are awesome. And I look at it and I just think I've got a long way to go. So why am I here? I wanted to just provide context, be a part of this community, and then also contribute, hopefully, in a positive way. Why DeFi? Why on-chain? And why shitcoins? Well, I think it comes with a tremendous amount of risk, but I think if you play your cards right and you have, obviously, good risk management, which obviously the guys speak about all the time, and I will as well, I think you can do really well. It's about, obviously, measuring your bets, finding where the narrative is. So whereas the guys are drawing lines and finding those fair value gaps and, you know, where it's all happening on the liquidity levels, I like to focus more on the way people are feeling around particular coins and then obviously acting upon that. I'm not right most of the times, but when I am right, I make it count. And I would request that you guys start just glancing at what it is that I'm doing, and hopefully in the coming weeks and months, I can walk you through the process of obviously trading on chain and what that entails and what the risks are and all the rest of it. So hopefully I will be afforded an opportunity to kind of do that education, and hopefully you guys can come for the ride. I'd just like to do a shout out, obviously, to the new guys that have come in that I've known for ages, Osbra, Tim, and a few of the others. And then also just kind of like Mac as well, Monk. Just also like a shout out to Purdue for kind of like acknowledging what it is that we do at Blockmates. Dude, thank you so much if you are around. And just my sentiments, just my sentiments on the market. I think it's been a really tough time. I mean, this is my third cycle, and I don't think we've ever experienced anything as kind of like grindy, and I think it's been very complex. I think there's dynamics at play that I think the fundamental traders really do pick up well on. I know that Mac and Monk are very much in on that kind of stuff in terms of, you know, what liquidity is doing. I think there's some big players in this market right now that we've never had, and it affects things. It affects the ease of things. I don't think things are easy. I think we're definitely at a disadvantage if we are trying to get ahead of whatever curve we're trying to find. And I think this is why communities like this are so important, and that's why I want to participate. I think the only way that we find an edge is if we do it together and we listen to one another. So that's pretty much my take on things. Just in terms of where the market's going right now, I think Tim's 100% correct. I think this kind of like, I mean, I've been calling it the Jeet super cycle pretty much for the last year and a half, and I'm yet to be wrong. I think people lock in their profits, and it's because we've become more sophisticated traders. People are recognizing those take profit levels, and then everyone's like wondering what's going on. Well, I think what's going on is that people are kind of following the same hymn sheet, and they're playing the same game, and that's the reason why we're seeing these dumps and we're seeing these pumps. So I think we've just got to play the levels. And I think for kind of like the shit coins and those kind of like sub 20, 30, 40 million coins, I think it's about getting the timing right, having a bit of conviction, not placing too big bets, and then holding on and seeing where it arrives, and then to not forget to take profits along the way. Folis, I don't know if you've got any other questions, but I hope that's a good enough introduction. And thank you very much for allowing me to have my say. I appreciate it.
Oh, that's fantastic, man. I was listening. I was enraptured. I mean, it's just so fascinating to get your perspective on things. I think, yeah, you saw how active the chat was and how buzzing people were at even just the suggestion that you might be more involved in the community going forward. So, yeah, I think this was the perfect teaser. We're definitely going to get something going and make something happen over the next, coming up to a new month might be a very good starting point for that. But yeah. You and I spoke on a call recently, so we're gonna cook something up for the members and kind of see where that goes. But yeah, very exciting times. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Jedi, and looking forward to picking your brain even more going forward. Osbra, are you on the call? Maybe you can give us some insight. Tell us what you're
I'm
looking
here.
at. Give us your take, your hot take on the market.
Yeah. Is there like an issue because I cannot share my screen right now? So is there
Only if
something that
someone
needs
else
to
is
be fixed?
sharing their screen, there should be an issue. But I think because no one is sharing their screen, yeah. Yes,
Yeah,
Osbert
no
is
one is sharing
also
what's.
over 30, so he's allowed to
Yeah,
have
but
these.
no, man. I know how to stream, thankfully. Don't put me in the same basket than Purdy, please.
I
Maybe
mean,
I
I
need
can
to
share.
because
I'm able to share
go
my
on.
screen
Yeah.
like that.
Because Team said you had to exit the call and come back. Now I can. Okay, perfect. You fixed it for this. Thank you, man.
Yeah, I just turn it up. The old
Um,
turn it on and turn it off again.
yeah. So I'm gonna try to be quick because you guys covered so much already. So this is my view on BT on the daily, and there is I think I'm gonna join what Follis and team said. There is nothing to like cry about as long as we hold from 110 to 112k. We fine. It's just like going sideways, and I've just put these lines just to emphasize the fact that for now we're just consolidating on the daily. Obviously, we have weeks up and weeks down, but at the end of the day, we're still consolidating within a range that you can see just here. This is the daily chart, and if you zoom in, then here it is. So this is the move that I was talking about, weeks down after a week up, weeks up just here. So yeah, BTC just in a range. This is my view. This is where I want to take actions to be quick, just here at range lows, obviously, and here at range highs. I'm gonna avoid trading here because it's the middle and I don't like to be caught in the crossfire. So I'm just gonna focus on extremities. So if the price goes down, I think it would be a nice opportunity to go long before FOMC. This is something that Monk has been saying in the chat while you guys were talking. But ideally, you don't want to take a trade like closer to the FOMC, like 1 hour prior to FOMC. You want to be positioned like a few days in advance. So if it's given today, I might try it because I think it's going to be worth it. And also, if it's given today, I might try it for like I might try these shorts. We discussed about it with Victorious yesterday during my live stream in the morning. I was expecting a sweep of these highs just here to enter short. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. So I want to say shout out and congrats to the guys who caught the short today. It was a very good one. So enjoy the profits. But yeah, these are my levels. Regarding ETH, so on LTF, this is what I have. I want to see this level here hold. Otherwise, I think we're gonna revisit lower, and Jonesy is gonna have his 20R trade, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was a 20R, and we might even go lower, but for that it will depend on the daily close. And I'm gonna share the daily chart just here, zooming out. So that's the plan for me. I think as long as we hold the blue box here, so around 36.60. If you go back here, it's this gray box right here. As long as we hold, we're fine. I think we're fine. And if we lose it, then we might go for lower. And I think this is what Purdue has been talking about. We might go and fill that weekly imbalance. Sorry, down to 3,200, 3,300. Regarding altcoins, I'm not gonna go chart by chart, but I will stick with what I like to use. Total tree. So once again, for new people, it's the crypto market capitalization, excluding BTC and Ethereum. So I don't really like to see that here. Might be a sign of exhaustion, but it can also be something like this. And it means it could go sideways for a little bit longer regarding the altcoins market. Nonetheless, as long as we stay above that level, I think we're fine for another leg up on altcoins. I'm just gonna clear this just a little bit. I think we're fine for another leg. And if we start to close below on the daily, then I think it would be wise to potentially rotate towards trading BTC, especially if you focus on longs and if you have spot bags or swing longs, considering taking profits. To summarize what I just said, I think we're not in panic mode. Like everything is okay. We have like charts are going sideways, pullbacks are absolutely normal. Also, it's getting volatile because we're approaching FOMC but also Bank of Japan statement the day after, like a few hours after, and also the end of the month. So monthly close, FOMC, and Bank of Japan statement. That's quite a lot, so it's normal to have a volatile market. So I wouldn't be too emotional or sensitive just here. We can have a word also on euro. I like to talk about it because I posted something about swap risk a few days ago. If you guys did read about it, basically to summarize everything, you remember that we had like an amazing pump on euro since Trump took over the office, and it means like on all USD backed investments. So obviously, when you buy UBTC, most of you guys buy it in USD, and USD is backed by the USD and attached to the correlated to USD value. So it means you've lost pretty much. Like let's say you're up 10% on your investment, you have to take off 12% because obviously you lost 12% on your initial investment in USD. So since yesterday announcement about the trade agreement between European Union and the USA, considering that Europe is seen as the loser in that agreement, then euro is starting to lose value. As I explained earlier today, you guys might have a read later, but it's because the European Union lost credibility for investors, and so they're dumping euros eventually for USD. And it's something good for us because as long as we continue to dump, then we will erase that initial loss that I was talking about at the beginning. So you want this shit to go down as much as possible so we can get our money back. I think that's pretty much it. No point being longer regarding BTC, ETH, or alts, considering all that has been said. I would like to just say a word to Jedi. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you for this, obviously, for onboarding him. But thank you, Jedi, for following us, the CRG team, in Chroma. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about you and to see what you're gonna cook in the server. Follies the onboarder. Yeah, how many people did you onboard, man?
It's just my job now. Say again?
Any questions?
No, man, that's awesome. That I actually love your market insights. They're presented so professionally. You know, we were just slinging ideas before you came along. We were just slinging ideas at one another and kind of shouting at various volume levels as to what we thought the markets would do. But you've definitely brought an air of professionalism, a sheen of professionalism to the operation, which I love to see.
It's so nice. It's so nice, man.
That's
Can
awesome,
I
man.
just,
Say again?
Victor, I think you're gonna pass the mic to someone else. I forgot to talk about something for just 1 minute maximum.
Oh yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Because I saw a lot of people in the chat at the beginning talking about FOMC, what to expect, etc. You guys want to keep in mind the economy is going well. Obviously, if you go to FedWatch, you're gonna see FedWatch tool, the predictions are for a pause. So they're gonna hold the rates where they are, 97% in favor of a hold, of a pause, only 3%. All right. So the odds are for September cut. What you want to pay attention to tomorrow, and you got lucky because we'll be streaming in the Discord with Monk. It's the tone of Jerome Powell when he's going to answer journalist questions. If he's dovish, so it means if he's like favoring rate cuts towards the end of the year, then you might have a short-term pump on the market. If he's hawkish, so if he's bearish, basically, regarding inflation and stuff, then you might expect a dump on the market. And what's going to be important is the dot plots. Because for now, you see we're expecting a cut, high probabilities to have a cut in September, also October and December, obviously. So you want to pay attention to the dot plots. Basically, they show the Fed members' predictions regarding the cut rate. So how many cuts we're going to have toward the end of the year? Because we had the discussion earlier this month with a few members in the TradFi chat, and someone said, yeah, but the Fed said they're gonna cut 4 times this year, so they have to cut now. The thing is, the dot plot has been updated, and now they want to cut twice. So you have to pay attention to this. It's going to be very important to anticipate, not to predict, but to anticipate what the market might be doing. So if it can help you to understand a bit more what's going on regarding the rates and stuff. This is my take, and obviously I think it's tomorrow, if I'm not wrong. You also have the growth domestic product that will be out before the FOMC. And why is it important? Because you see, the forecast is for an increase, so it means economic growth. And if you remember, the Fed's mandate is to keep prices stable and the labor market resilient. All right, this is the only thing they care about, and Powell has been sticking to it. The thing is, if the economy is growing, then why would they cut rates? It's like, if I can make it simple, if you feel perfectly fine, if you have like the energy of Usain Bolt, for example, why would you go to the doctor, right? You're perfectly in check, so you have no reason to take meds. It's quite the same with the economy. Like, if the economy is growing, as you can see here, obviously tomorrow we can like reassess this, but for now the consensus is for economic growth. So why would you cut rates? Why did you apply a patch to something that is not like sick or broken? And the other thing is obviously the earnings. You saw that the earnings from Google, for example, or Goldman Sachs were beating the forecast. So everything is going well. We also have more job creations. So he's right. He was right when he said a few days ago, remember, just look at my profile picture and it will remind you something. When Trump visited the Federal Reserve with the helmets and stuff, Powell said economy is going well. And he is right, because the numbers are going on his side. So don't expect too much from the FOMC, whatever it's the one that is taking place tomorrow or in September going onwards. I'm done, I promise.
No, man, take as much time as you need. Always great to hear your point of view. Let me go to Monk. I know you had a stream earlier, Monk, but maybe you'd be willing to speak for a few more minutes and give us your take on what you've been looking at and what you're expecting from the market over the next few days.
Yeah, sure. I will not take too many times because, sorry, I'm pretty aligned with all what analysts says, and even in Ethereum, I'm waiting to go lower, even 3K, and that's why today I spent some time to explain my view and why I prefer to be patient and even to keep my stablecoin and all my assets in order to go on the market at the right time. And you were talking about the fact that sometimes traders are afraid to go in the market, and I think because now the market is pretty boring and we are in the range, it's always good to take some profit even if you are in spot. And we know the famous sentence to buy on the sound of the cannons and to sell on the sound of trumpet. And we are in this kind of situation. We are in summer, nothing crazy happened. So yeah, I'm not bearish on long term, but I think we will have great opportunity on altcoins, on Ethereum and Bitcoin. We need to erase open interest and to liquidate a lot of people. Every market brief, I go back on Kingfisher and what's happening on liquidation and how we can manage what's happening on the different exchanges. Maybe I will not share my view on BTC because I already did, and I will not bother everyone with a new chart on BTC and Ethereum. But I have one question. Maybe we can have some answer on it. But sometimes some trader ask me what's the major risk of crypto this year, and I don't have an answer on it. Sometimes I'm like, okay, what will be the next black swan on the market? Maybe a scam, not a scam, but a hack on Hyperliquid, maybe something from Trump. But it's always, like Jedi said during this introduction, I think the major thing of Chroma is we are all linked and connected to find what's the major risk and what can happen in the coming month. And yeah, I would be like, I think it's a great question that we can all answer about what will be the next big risk on crypto, because we all survived from the beginning of a new Trump administration. But then for the coming month, I don't have so much risk in my mind about the market. So yeah, if you have any maybe in the chat or any people here, but yeah, that's my view on the market, and I didn't share my screen as I said, but this is what
think
I.
if I may comment just in terms of kind of like, I think it's really important to be mindful of, what could possibly go wrong. I mean, we're not here to be bearish and I mean, I am a perma bull. But I think what's really important is to be aware of what the fuck is going on. And I think the biggest risk right now are these treasury companies. I think why are they a risk? I think greed is the big thing. When you start leverage trading and you start seeing profits and Bitcoin keeps going up and you think you're bulletproof, what happens? You start betting more. And I think the most likely kind of scenario where things go wrong is through these treasury companies, whether it's through the Ethereum guys, whether it's through Bitcoin. Someone's going to drop the ball and we're going to have some kind of a cascading effect. I hope I'm wrong. I mean, I don't want to see that kind of thing. Well, maybe there's a part of me that does. I mean, I wouldn't mind buying Bitcoin at 30K again or whatever the fuck it goes to. But I think we just need to be aware, like what can go wrong, and then just to keep our eyes wide open and to anticipate.
Yeah, sure. Sometimes I ask myself also about Lido or Aave or again Lawyer, because this is a big amount of crypto and they are concentrated, and sometimes it's kind of risk. And I'm pretty agree on this line. And yeah, I think even hyperliquid is a risk. So yeah, treasury it's one of the big risk on the market, maybe more than the macroeconomic side.
100%. Yeah. So first of all, Monk, that's a fantastic question. I think maybe that's something that we can even take away and try and come up with a team answer, as you say, during the week. But to go back to that, Jed, I would love to pluck that thread a little more when you say that you think the biggest systemic risk at the moment is the treasury companies. Maybe, can you delve a little bit more into that? Maybe give us a little bit more detail. Maybe kind of go into your thoughts a little bit more. Like, how would you see that play out in practice? Do you think it's particularly likely? And how should people be preparing or accounting for that risk?
Yeah, it's a good question. My problem with this is that I don't know the intricacies and kind of like the machinations around the way that these guys are actually raising funds. But at the end of the day, I think for me, what makes sense is that is it a foregone conclusion around the same way that we leverage trade? You're borrowing X amount of money. I mean, we know that Michael Saylor's margin call sits at around $75,000. I think he has exits. I think he has, if the price drops to 75K, I don't think he gets immediately liquidated. I think he has fail safes in place. I think he's played the game a lot better and a lot smarter than I think potentially some of these other guys are. And my concern is that if they're not able to service those calls, are they actually running the risk of being liquidated? And what do those liquidations look like? Who's going to step in and actually essentially take the hit for them? And if there isn't anyone, we are going to essentially see a liquidation cascade the same way that we see when we're trading on leverage. So it's very simple from my understanding of it. In terms of the complexities around it, I mean, I'll pull up the research. I'll present kind of like what that looks like in idiot terms, because I know that there are a couple of sources that I can look towards. But I see that as being the major risk, not being able to service a debt and then the margin call coming in. It's really that simple. Pretty much what Osbro's saying as well.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes sense. That's fascinating. Maybe that's something we talk about again on a future call or even during the week to come. But that's great. Thank you very much for that insight, Monk and Jedi. Mac Dyson, you're here. Can you talk us through what you're looking at in the charts? Maybe what your thoughts are on the market?
Basically the price stops going up and we retrace to the next support. So here the next support is over there. As you can see, it held quite well. We wicked down, of course, but the candle managed to close back inside the range. So now we need to zoom in a little bit more to understand in which type of momentum we are. So here you can see technical correction number 2, and we are in the wave number 2.x. So it means that we are currently inside of the most impulsive move of this technical correction. So in my opinion, if we manage to hold this level here, it would be really, really bullish, because it would mean that the first leg down, so here the 1x, the week was like minus 4%. And here, since the start of the 2x, the week would be like less than 3%. So that's an anomaly in my system, and it would show a lot of strength that bulls want to preserve this level. You can see it. We also have a nice order block that could support the price. And of course, my main area of spot reloading would be over there. But as we just said before, we need to act level by level as traders and not try to anticipate the future too much. So I'm not focused on this area for now. I am more focused around the 16K level to try and catch some longs. And while we reach this area, I like to look at stocks also. Stocks, you can see the SP 500 is trending down since the start of the week, but still the overall trend is bullish. There's no denying that. And I am really focused on Circle currently. I opened a long today on that token. I don't know if you saw the news with the Genius Act. Basically, to sum up, it's just how do we say it in English? Sorry. The US government approves the stablecoin dominant strategy. So the companies like Circle that issues the USDC, or like Tether that issues the USDT, when you give them dollars in exchange of stablecoins, with your dollars, they buy US bond treasuries, and with like 4.5% interest rate. And with that act, the government confirms that, okay, they are good to do this, and they actually enjoy that strategy a lot, because it allows the US government to reduce its debt. Well, not really reduce, but the stablecoin companies buy back sort of the debt of the US government by buying US bonds. As you can as you know, probably a lot of countries reduced they buybacks on treasury bonds of the US government after Trump got elected. So they really appreciate that stablecoin companies buy those treasury bonds back. So as you can see on this chart for Circle, once it got issued, basically it was supposed to go out at $30. Last minute they changed it to $60, and after the IPO, boom, we had almost 400% push. And I think it's only a beginning, because it's just a printing machine. Stable coins are just printing machines. They take your cash and they get 4.5% free every year on your cash. So I think it's a good business. It's a new business, and a lot of people don't really know about it yet. So I think it's still early, and now we can see that it has been trending a little bit down. So I think there are nice spot opportunities here. This is a scalp, but I will try to keep most of the position and try to turn it into a spot slash swing position. All right, so that's for what I'm looking at right now. Of course, we can also look at the stablecoin dominance. I think nobody shared that chart yet, so I'm gonna go through that a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be
If you
great.
don't know, yeah, if you don't know what the stablecoin dominance chart is, it's just the opposite of Bitcoin, basically. Think of it as the opposite of Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes up, it means less people are positioned in stablecoins. You trade your stablecoins for Bitcoins. So the stablecoin chart will go down. So if it goes down, it means it's bullish for the crypto ecosystem. And I've been using these parallel channels for years now. And as you can see, it ping-ponged quite well for years, then broke down. I created another range, Then I created another range. And overall, you can also do technical analysis on it. And I think we have reached a quite important pivot level. And this is why we are seeing some bearish momentum right now on the price section, because we have this important level. And if we zoom in a little bit more, you can see that the price is trying to find some support on it. And this is one of the reasons that could explain the bearish momentum on Bitcoin. Overall, I don't think we need to be bearish in medium/long term, because as I just explained on Bitcoin, I think it's just a technical correction, and that we still have another bullish leg cooking before we end the whole bullish phase. So you can see a bullish phase is constituted of 3 big waves: the 1x, the 2x, the 3x. 2x is the most impulsive one, and then the 3x is dedicated to mainly scalpers or fast swing traders. So yeah, that's my view. I will be watching 116k for this week, and if that fails and we get kind of close below, I would be looking at around 112 to 109k, somewhere around that. And of course, if we reintegrate that range and we close the body of a candle below that, it would not look as good, because as you can see, we were in that range for a long time before we managed to push up. So I think it would just make Bitcoin trade sideways for a little while. So that would not be good for Bitcoin and for cryptos overall. That's it. I think I covered pretty much everything. I will be covering that more in depth in, well, yes, around 2 hours in live. So if you want to see that, make sure to join. I will also be covering the on-chain analysis. Oh, I can do that quickly because I also think nobody did that.
Oh
But
yeah,
overall,
100%. Go for it.
yeah, since that push that created a new all-time high, you see we entered a new range. And while we entered that new range, we saw a lot of futures position, net short positions opening, and a lot of spot long position closing. You can see it here. That's the spot. A lot of spot has been closing all the way up there. So it joins, I don't know who said it earlier, but we have reached some taking profit targets for spot holders and for big swing holders. So it makes sense that we are seeing some spot selling, and futures are increasingly entering the market, and mainly those are short positions. And they are also entering while the funding rates are quite high. So it's interesting for short people to short the market. And that's pretty much it. If anyone has any question, I will gladly answer them.
That's awesome, Mac Dyson. Thank you so much for that. And you say, like as you say, you're streaming again in a couple hours. So I like the way you just got that little plug in at the end as well. You know, streaming in 2 hours. Come see me then. That's the
Yeah, we
perfect
need some
segue.
marketing.
Yeah, exactly. Doing some marketing. No, that's great. I think Vazi just said in the chat that we're streaming all day, and yeah, we basically are.
That's true.
It's good. It's a good problem to have, to be so jam packed full of activities. But that's awesome, man. Thank you so much for that. And you know, we'll plug in again a couple hours when you stream again. We'll ask you a few questions. Jay, I see you in the chat. I didn't go to you yet, right? I know you were speaking at the start, but maybe you can give us some insight into what you're looking at in the charts that are occupying your interest. I'm not sure you're available to talk.
I am. Hello, everybody. I mean, I drew the plan this morning and I'm ready to get hurt. I'm about to knife catch. I think we go to 121 from here. I just want 117 to get wiped. I'm not going to share charts because honestly, we've seen everything that's going on, and I'm just playing the range, playing va to val, val to va. I want clean. I just want ugly highs to get taken, and continuation of shit PA until the summer is over. I've accepted we're on this, and I'll trade it.
How are you finding the PA at the moment? You say it's shit. Well, what about it isn't? What about it
I'm not a
is
range trader.
yeah.
I don't think it's shit. It's just shit for me, and I fell into the trap of not adapting. I didn't adapt the whole way since like I don't know July 20th or something. Like until we had this rise, I played this well. I played all this rise well, but then after this, I played all of this wrong. I just did not accept we weren't in the range. And like you said in the beginning, I got hurt. I lost most of my gains from the first 2 weeks in these last 2 weeks. PA should be cleaner after FOMC. I don't necessarily think PA has been dirty. I think I've misread it. But yeah, that's over to opinions. I'm waiting for this long to get filled. I'm hoping we get TP'd on the short. I'm stressing a bit, sitting on my hands. Please. I've also got hooked up with the brighter data boys, so I'll be using the statistics as well as John Z and Vic and the boys. And yeah, there's no big view for me. I'm gonna be playing intraday for now. I think the best setups are just daily age one. Overall, I think we get that PO3 dip that we spoke about somewhere in the near future. Would kind of align with Folly's idea of retesting all-time high. So somewhere in maybe in August, early September, I'd like this. And if we get this, I'm longest it for another leg. I think we get the final leg of a cycle, and then we go on a bear market. I'm sorry, but I'm willing to be wrong.
What's your line in the sand then?
For this,
Yeah, like let's say you say
losing like 107. It's just structure break on the weekly, right? And not 107, like 97, which is miles away. But like lose 907 with strength and try to retest this, we just die.
I
we
think
should not lose this box.
Yeah, anything beyond a sweep of that low, I think
Yeah,
is terrible.
yeah,
like if we start closing like daily and weekly candles below that low, I'd be
If we start closing dailies here, weeklies, I'm looking for 50s. Simple as. Looking for 50s. We wipe every single retail that came since the ETF. That's the level. I think that's I still like it. I think there's a lot of confluence there, like OTE of like the whole thing. It's just a very good area retest of old highs. I mean, this is super HCF. This is years in the making if this happens. So like the next 2-3 years. But I was surprised about this. I don't want to be surprised about this. That's all it is. I don't want to draw something I shouldn't here. So let's delete that. And yeah, that's kind of my view. I just want to play intraday until we get that last leg. Fully catch that last leg and capitalize and then become a bit of a bear. Maybe I'll join the bear team.
Well, I think I don't know. I feel like in this range bound environment, the play is to try and be bearish into resistance and try and flip your bias when price goes the other way. So I mean we're still pretty far away from that now. Just looking at BTC, but I mean like I think if price starts coming down to for me like my kind of support level is more like 115 kind of 114. If price comes down there, like for sure I will not be still short. Like I will have TP'd my shorts long before that because I think as you say, like a lot of traders have kind of failed to adapt to this range. Like people, and you said it, and others have said it. Like it's just been chop, but I think actually it's just been range bound PA.
Clean chop. It's clean chop.
Clean chop. This is something we say all the time, though. Is like when the markets change from trending to range bound, you need to adapt. When the markets change from bullish to bearish, you need to adapt, right? And I think that's one thing. You can be the most skillful trader in the world, but if your bias is consistently incorrect over a period of days or weeks because you haven't adapted quick enough to changing conditions, you're going to hemorrhage money, right? And I know a lot of guys who they give away a lot of their profits. That they catch a move beautifully. They identify what's happening. They trade it really well. They execute to perfection. But there's something at the tail end whereby they think they think that this is gonna this trend is gonna continue interminably. We're just gonna keep pushing higher, and they end up giving back 30, 40, 50% of their gains every time because
Yep.
they haven't accounted for changing market conditions and haven't adapted quickly enough. And that's actually something that this cycle in particular has been brutal for. It has been merciless to those
We go from
traders.
chop to just full blast so
Yeah,
fast.
exactly. And actually it works the other way around too. So if you're if you're making great money on a trending move and then price starts to range, you're going to give a lot of that back if you keep trading that range like the trend before. But likewise, if price is ranging and then all of a sudden we blast off and BTC goes plus 30K in a week, you're going to give a lot of the money you made in the range back to the market if you keep trying to, okay, we're approaching resistance here, time to short, time to short, time to short. You're going to get blasted. So I think part of the skill, particularly this cycle, in being consistently profitable, is this ability to first recognize when conditions are one way and when they change to another way, and then being able to change and adapt to those conditions in order to trade successfully.
Are we about to get filled live? Is anyone knife catching this with me at all?
My targets are slightly lower, I think, but we'll see.
As long as my SL doesn't get hit, I'm fine with it.
What's your
I mean,
what's your invalidation?
you want 115, 860.
I'm looking for
It's like this low.
113,666 on my short. So
I mean, that's
sorry,
one of
Jay.
those situations. Someone in Chroma wins.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. Hey,
At
well,
least let me
it's-
get my
we-
ETP.
What's
I
your
was looking at
ETP,
ETH.
Jonesy?
We're about $50 away. So I think if BTC really starts pushing to that
36?
H4 FEG, yeah, if we start pushing, maybe we dip below 117 on BTC, it'll probably go.
So what are you
But I'm
looking for?
also
3.7?
3695.
Okay.
But yeah,
36.
basically that H4 FEG. But
yeah.
if we take this low from was it last night, or I guess like the current daily low, and start bouncing from it, I'll probably
You
just
probably
cut.
get some bullshit.
But I'm hoping for just like a big little nice fat wick down.
I'd like this. I'd actually long this back to 4K.
No, I'm not long. Not for a while.
Have you guys seen that thing where it's like Fartcoin has been leading the market
Ew.
moves the last few months, where once you see Fartcoin strength, it's indicative that the market is going to rally, and once you see Fartcoin weakness, it's indicative that the market is going to tank. And actually, if you just saw I just posted a Fartcoin chart there. Fartcoin's down 36% in the last week. It started dropping basically before any other alt, and now it's almost like the other altcoins have started playing catch up, which I think is really funny.
Who did I make this drawing to yesterday?
Which drawing? On Fart?
Literally this. Yeah, like I did it here. It's on crypto chat somewhere. I mean, add long if we reclaim. Sweep, reclaim. Add long. Everyone's bearish again.
You need to get
Everyone's
above
getting bearish again.
17.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not touching this. I'm touching
Yeah.
this. This I touch. Right now it's nothing. It's cold air. Cold air. I'm short, bro. I'm about to get filled on a long. And then I get hurt again. It's fine.
Yeah, that's
I'm
a good
practicing
point.
sitting on my hands.
Joey says Hype, Fartcoin, and Sui. These three coins have been the strongest this year, and whenever the market is strong, these three lead. Yeah, and conversely, I think whenever those three start showing sustained weakness, it's usually indicative that
Yeah. With the
something-
fucking Jew mode.
Yeah, Ina coming out of nowhere. Yeah, well, Ina has a bunch of. That's the reason that we got long in the in the server is there's a bunch of fundamentals. There's like that $250 million Athena Foundation buyback. That stable coin, the USDE thing. Yeah, I think there's a bunch of reasons to be bullish on ENA here, but because it's an ETH beta, it also like 3.3K or 3.4K, as might well happen. Yeah, I think ENA will probably. It doesn't matter how fucking bullish the narrative is; it'll still leg down like minus 15 or minus 20% from here to
I'll get in
0.4
with you
or
here.
0.44. Yeah, I could see it. Honestly, I could see 0.44, 0.545 easy.
That would be such a good long, you know. It's one of those unicorns we come back after a year and oh well, look, it was there. You see it? I might take that
on ENA.
on ENA. Yeah, on ENA.
Yeah.
This is one of those we look back after a year. Oh yeah, it was there.
I think ENA looks good, but there is that weekly inversion fair value gap that I think you'll get tested before higher. Maybe a dip to the ice line at 48 cents.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm just sharing my screen, but I really have nothing else. I'm just waiting to be TP'd here. Probably front run and then break even. But
Yeah,
let's hope not.
that's also. I think we are coming on the 90-minute mark, so we're kind of going to wrap
Yeah,
things
I'm not
up
sure
now.
if
So
I
I'll
have.
just
Go for it.
that,
Go for it.
that's
Sorry.
fine. No worries, Jay. I'll just quickly run around. If anyone else has anything they'd like to say, please feel free to chime in. But otherwise, I mean, we've been going for 90 minutes now, and I know that there's there are even more streams planned for later today, so I don't want to hog too much airtime. But I think that's about it, guys. We're gonna call it there. If no one has anything else to say, just want to say a massive thank you to all of our speakers today. Some incredibly insightful discussion. Special shout out to Jedi for joining us for the first time, and as we alluded to earlier in the call, hopefully going to get him more and more involved in what we're up to here in the community going forward. But yeah, thank you very much to all of our speakers, to everyone who offered their insight into the market, into BTC, into alts, into everything crypto. This, as I've mentioned already, this is our weekly team roundtable. We do these every Tuesday, usually at this time. So we will catch you guys again for the next one. Thank you very much for joining. I hope you got something out of this 90-minute discussion, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.